From the Opopco Studios in Oklahoma City, I'm Jenni Carlson here with Daniel Cormier. Daniel, getting ready to fight a big Strikeforce bout here in Oklahoma City, November 3rd against Frank Mier. Talk about this bout you're getting ready to fight.
It's a big fight. You know, it's the first time a UFC guy has come over to Strikeforce. Frank's a two-time former UFC heavyweight champion, accomplished one of the better heavyweights of all time, one of the greatest submission fighters of all time in the heavyweight division, and it's a big fight. You know, I've been fighting for 3 years now, and I'm fighting in high-level fights, and this is exactly what I want to be doing right now. You know, fighting guys like that, and then for it to happen in Oklahoma is unbelievable.
Yeah, we'll talk about that because you're an Oklahoma State guy.
Yeah.
Most people will probably recognize you from your Oklahoma State wrestling days around here. Obviously now making a name for yourself in the MMA ranks. How does that wrestling background transition over to what you're doing now?
No, it helped. It helped a ton. You know, I took the ability to train, the knowledge of how to train hard, and applied it to this new sport. And a lot of things started happening fast. Well, most guys don't have that. You know, they don't train at Oklahoma State. They don't train under John Smith and the rest of those guys, you know. So I took that, I applied it, and it's been going good. And a lot of it is directly a result of my career in wrestling.
Yeah. Well, and getting to come back here. How important is that for you?
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, I've lived in California for 2 years now, you know, so I haven't been back since 2010. I came back for a few days, and I missed it, man. I tell you, I cannot explain the excitement on the plane, you know, coming down, and it's amazing to be back, and it's like home. I was here for 10 years. I wrestled here in college. I made my 2 Olympic teams here. You know, it was home, so it feels good to come back, and I've been getting text messages from people from Stillwater saying, you know, be at the fight. You know, I'm so excited. I can't wait to see you compete because a funny story, my friend Scott lives in Stillwater. I was sitting on his couch watching UFC 100 when I decided I wanted to fight.
Oh,
this
really?
was almost 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I can't believe now I'm headlining a major show like that.
Yeah. Well, I remember talking to you about the time you got your MMA career started, and you, like you say, 2 Olympic wrestling teams. You know, wrestling had been such a part of your life. There was sort of that, do I want to do MMA?
Yeah.
Obviously, the decision was the right one.
Right one.
Yeah.
You know, and it was the whole stigma of fighting in the cage and dealing with that. And I was too worried about perception, you know, and at the end of the day, that's not what's important. What's important is that it's a great sport. It's regulated to the highest level. And, I mean, it's so well respected. I mean, this sport's blowing up like nothing I've ever seen in my life. And I'm just glad to be a part of it. It was a great decision. I'm glad I did it, for sure.
You talk about your wrestling background, your training background, setting you up well for MMA. But from the looks of things, your boxing skills have really improved. Obviously, your wrestling skills are great.
Yeah.
But talk about the improvement in your boxing skills.
It's just being dedicated, you know. When you get something new, like the thing about wrestling for so long, it's like I'm doing the same thing every day. And the improvements are so slight, you know, it's like barely getting better. You can't really see it until you get into the matches. Well, every day I'm boxing. Every day I'm kicking. You know, at first I couldn't kick my leg up past my hip. Now it's up over my head, you know, so it's like you can see the improvement so good. And I've got great coaches, you know, Javier Mendez, Javi Carvajal, Jasper Tayaba, Bob Cook. I trained at the American Kickboxing Academy, so I took to it, and I love it. You know, the hardest part about it for wrestlers are getting punched. And it was tough for me in the beginning too, but once I got used to it, I just kind of took to it.
Best thing to do is punch back, right?
You have to. Before, I just closed my eyes and
Not anymore, right?
Not anymore. No, I'm looking dead at him when I'm doing it.
Hey, lastly, this fight, it's a Strikeforce fight, but you're soon to head up to the UFC ranks, which obviously, huge deal. Talk about that transition.
It's a big deal. You know, the rest of the Strikeforce heavyweights are already in the UFC. 18 months ago, the UFC purchased Strikeforce, which is the #2 organization in the world still to this day. So the top 2 organizations under the same parent company. All the heavyweights went over. I won the Strikeforce Heavyweight Grand Prix tournament, had a lot of the best heavyweights in the world. So I was obligated to give Showtime one more fight. After that, it's all about positioning now. I'm going to the UFC. That's already been determined. But where am I going to fall at in the UFC? Right now, I'm ranked #4 in the world. Okay, so if I get past Frank Mier, where does that put me in terms of title contention? So I'm going to the UFC. You know, it's all a matter of where do I fit whenever I do get there.
Yeah, so there may be a championship bout in the near future for you.
Yeah, Dana White already said, you know, he goes, this guy wins his next fight. This was before Frank Mier was even announced as the opponent. He wins his next fight, you know, I don't have a problem with him getting an immediate title shot when he comes over.
Yeah. So November 3rd, Chesapeake Energy Arena. People need tickets. They need to call you.
Yeah, that's the one thing I got to watch out for, because people may try and call me, but for the record, guys, I don't have tickets. I don't have them. I'm sorry. If I did, I'd give them to you. Jenni has a few.
Oh, yeah. Thanks. Thanks, Daniel. Call the Chesapeake box office.
Call Chesapeake box office, Ticketmaster, strikeforce.com, UFC.com. You can get the tickets.
All right. Thanks, Daniel. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.